good morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. I'm Bailey from Glowforge.
I'm Nick from Glowforge.
Wow, our shirts look the exact same color on camera right now.
Definitely did not plan that.
But his is purple and mine is red, to be clear.
Yeah,
We're in the fall
Bordeaux
palette.
kind of color. Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of like a spooky palette.
I'll give you that. That's a pass.
Welcome to our stream this week. Today we are going to be talking about leather. So today's a bit of a material deep dive. And it's the first one of these we've done in a while. We thought leather would be a fun one to start on because I think leather is a material that a lot of folks haven't worked with until they get a Glowforge, and then they're like, wait, what? Whoa.
I can do what with this stuff? Yeah, it's incredible. As a medium, it's really fun to work with.
Yeah, and we're lucky to have Nick here today because he actually ran a leather working business out of his home before getting a Glowforge. Then we stole him and all of his talents, and he doesn't have time to run a leather working business.
That is true.
But the things you could do with a Glowforge, right?
If only I was at home right now and not presenting this.
But welcome. Please, if you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, let me know in chat where you're watching from. If you have a Glowforge already, if you're thinking about getting one, which one, what do you make? I want to hear all about it.
And if you know about leather already, you can correct all the things that I'm going to tell you.
Or if you know about birds, what's that, ornithology?
Yes,
I'm printing today, or we're printing today
I did not get the
like,
link there for
whoa,
a second. What? I'm in the wrong
We're printing today I'll give you a close-up later, but it's a leather raven hair clip. You'll get to see it up close in a moment, but we were joking, if we have any bird experts, they might say, looks like
a raven instead of a crow.
A crow instead of a raven. I don't know,
we're not really sure. I know one has a squared off tail and one has a rounded tail, but I forget which is which.
I don't know.
Anyway,
all right,
if you know, let us know, please. But this is a great print from the catalog. This is something that's available to you as a Glowforge owner to download. It's already been tested. You throw in a piece of material, print it. This one is 3 layers that you just stick together. You could use a stitch or a rivet if you wanted to.
Yep.
But with the holidays coming up at the end of the month, this is pretty appropriate, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe some people are
dressing
up.
Even for the holidays at the end of the year, if you have spooky friends, I have lots of spooky
or just friends who like crows and ravens.
Crows and ravens, bird ornithologist friends. Yeah. I hope I'm using that word right. I think that's what it is.
I'm sure you're right. Say it with conviction and people will believe you.
Ornithology, the study of birds, I'm sure of it. Welcome everyone who's tuning in. I see someone's girl by says, just in time, I've created my first leather patch. Okay,
nice.
I want to hear what it's for. Are you selling the patch on its own, or maybe you're not even selling it, but is it to go on a bag or a hat or what? I'd love to hear a little bit more. Lawrence says, I have a Glowforge Pro. I'm in Tupelo, Georgia.
Nice.
Bennett, Colorado, just east of Denver, southeast Massachusetts, Knoxville, Tennessee, Dallas, Texas. Got my Glowforge last week. That's so exciting. So if any of you are just got your Glowforge, or you're getting a Glowforge soon and you want to make stuff to sell over the holiday season, I actually just created a holiday business class series. It's 3 mini classes. It teaches. It's kind of like a crash course on how to start up a business for the holidays, and it uses real case studies from Glowforge owners and about the Glowforge powered businesses that they've started. So if you want to register for that, you just go to watch.glowforge.com/holidaybiz, B-I-Z 101. You register, I will send you the classes. They're super fun.
They're great.
Speaking of leather patches, one of the case studies that we talk about in the class is this company called PG Hat Co., and they are on track to make $500,000 in sales with their Glowforge business this year.
Which is, no small amount. That's pretty impressive.
But I mean, we've seen businesses all the way up to that scale of success and fame and what have you, and all the way down to, you just make a few things to sell to your friends and family, you do Christmas markets, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super fun.
Yeah, and everything in between. And also, nice segue, by the way, leather patches, leather hat business, that was very professionally done.
Didn't even plant that person in chat to mention that.
100%.
No way.
Not at all.
No, it's not my husband. But we should get started on the print.
Yes, let's do that. All right, apologies to those of you out there who already have a Glowforge. Bear with us. For those of you who are new, what we want to do is take you through the entire print experience, from starting with a design from our catalog through to sending it to Glowforge, so you can see exactly what that's like and how easy it is to use.
Yes.
So we're going to start here at my computer on the catalog page. And this particular design, which is the leather raven hairpin.
Oh my goodness. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
PG Hat Co. is watching and said, hey, that's us there in chat. Y'all, if you have business questions, ask them.
We'll just sit here quietly for 10 minutes and we'll let them take over. Welcome back. Congratulations on your business.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, anyway, we're here in the Glowforge app, like I said, and this is one of our prints that a customer had created that is now available to purchase, which actually, again, thinking about ways of making money, if you are a designer and you have some designs that are Glowforge ready, you can apply, once you're an owner, to be a catalog contributor.
This is a brand new thing that we've just launched. So our catalog used to be a bit small because it was just us here on the team making the designs, and now we've opened it up to Glowforge owners to be able to submit the designs that they've made for Glowforge, and oh my gosh, every time I go on, there's new things.
It's great. It's so good. I mean, we spent years wishing and wishing that we could devote time into expanding the catalog.
Because now we get just such a range of creativities and styles that we couldn't have produced here. You know, it's awesome.
You'd soon get bored of everything that I was going to be making. Same with Bailey and Shell, other colleagues. So now it's just so wonderful. So consider it if you have designs that you want to sell. But anyway, here we are. Now, I've already downloaded this design, so I can click Open My Design here, and it's going to launch the Glowforge app. But just to give you a bit of information, down here we've got some details about the physical size, the assembly skill and time, and then a few photos to show this particular design in context, how it comes to be. We've got 3 layers right here, and then the finished thing. And it's quite clever, really. We've got 2 layers here on the top, 1 and 2. Sorry, 1 layer on the top that hides the 2 holes in the bottom 2 layers that the little stick goes through. And the whole thing is kind of this multi-layered effect, which is really neat.
And then Mike, if you switch over to the phone cam, I printed this right before, so you can kind of see it in real life. Okay, I didn't do the best job on the leather dyeing. I would probably do another coat, but I literally did this morning. So, and I've just stuck a little like craft stick through it, so I'd probably use one that's a proper hair clip stick as well. But you can see, I mean, that really looks like he's showing us right there, and I just printed this. I think it was like a 2-minute print or something.
Oh, yeah. We'll soon find out in a second.
So we'll do it,
yeah. And I mean, thinking about that print too, we chose to dye that one black, but I mean, you could use any colors you want. That does not have to be a Halloween print. I mean, this could be a phoenix, for example.
Imagine painting it too and making it look feather-like, or doing the 3 layers in different colors so that you can really see the dimension and the texture a little bit better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the cool things about leather, actually. You can really think of it as just another medium like paper or card.
Right.
All those things that you already use, acrylic paints, they work so good on leather. So if you wanted to dye to create a base coat, then add all those details, you can absolutely do that. So fun.
So cool.
All right, so back to our print. We have it here. I'm going to click Open My Design, and what that's going to do is launch the Glowforge app. And for those of you who aren't familiar, the Glowforge app is our way of getting a design to your Glowforge. And it's all web-based, so you don't need to download or install anything. And every time you log in, you're going to be using the latest and greatest version of the software.
Right.
And here's our print. It's all ready to go. We just got to do a couple of little things. Now, first of all, you'll notice on the right-hand side here, we have some instructions. And for designs that have complicated steps, maybe some assembly and things like this, we have step-by-step guides with photographs to explain exactly how these things go together.
I love them. They are so helpful.
So helpful. And, you know, let's say you have your design here, you accidentally delete a piece, something like this. We can choose this button here to reset the design, and that's going to put it all the way back to how it was originally. So you can modify this, play about with it, and then go back to the beginning, which is super, super cool. So I'm going to hide this for now. I'm going to grab our print. I'm going to move it here to the middle of this black square. Now, you might be wondering what this is.
What the heck? Not the most appealing visual.
Exactly, yeah. But this is actually a photograph of what's inside our Glowforge right now. And that is nothing, in short. There is nothing inside our Glowforge. But if I open this up here, pop this piece of proof grade leather in the middle. And we don't have to put it in the middle, you know, we don't have to be particularly accurate at all, because using the software, we can accommodate any kind of irregularity in size and shape. If it's skew-if, it's one of my favorite words, don't ask me to spell it, we can rotate that design and resize, etc., etc. But here we are. You'll see in the app that image is updated. We can now see that piece of leather that's sitting there in the middle of the bed, and I can start to move my design around on top of that piece. Now, first thing we need to do is tell Glowforge what we're printing on. Now, this is a piece of proof grade leather, but it's missing the barcode sticker that you typically see. We'll talk about that in a second. So what I'm going to do is go up to the materials menu here in the top left, start typing leather, and I'm going to choose the leather that we're using right now. Now, what you'll notice once that's been applied is these steps here on the left will change to say a description of how they're supposed to be printed. And when I talk about that, I'm meaning scoring, cutting, and engraving. And those are the sort of 3 main things you can do with Glowforge. Now, cutting, just like a pair of scissors, all the way through the material. Scoring, just like a pen, fine, consistent line. And engraving, like charcoal or pencils, you can shade in the surface to create engraved areas, just as if you were coloring, if you like.
Depth, photos,
absolutely,
images.
Super cool. All right, next thing, we've got our materials, we've got our settings set up. We need to arrange our design. Now you can see that my piece of leather is slightly skew-if there, so I'm just going to
You did that on purpose so you could say the word again, I think.
And I'm just going to shrink this down just ever so slightly here, because I can see the edge of this piece of leather is just a little bit tacky.
Yeah, just as long as the holes will still fit the hair doodad stick through. That should still work.
Stick,
yes, I think that's what they're called.
100%. I mean, I feel like you would know better than me, so I fully trust you, Bailey. Let's say this was a small piece of leather, though. Maybe it's one you've already used, and there's just a small piece remaining. What we could actually do is take a couple of these pieces away, and we could just focus on printing just one of them. Or, you know, let's say you were using colored leather, something like this. These sheets have been pre-dyed. These are not from Glowforge, but you can buy them online. You could, say, print one layer of this particular design in a color. So we could put this in and maybe copy and paste the top layer, you know, 4 or 5 times and print 4 or 5 of those.
Yeah.
Switch to the middle layer, switch to the back layer, etc., etc. Really cool.
We do have a question about leather dye. Do you want to do that now, or
oh, yeah.
Someone's just asking, like, what brands, how to use leather dye?
Okay, I tell you what, let's kick this print off, and then we'll do it while it's printing. All right, so our design is ready to go. Only thing left to do is to hit print, and that is it. So, as you can see, very, very easy to use. Now, what's happening right now is some of the magic inside Glowforge, and that is the printer head, which is this little blank square right here, is taking a photograph of the material, figuring out how thick it is, and calibrating the laser and the cameras and everything like that to cut as efficiently through that material as possible. Now, in a traditional laser, something you might use in manufacturing, that's something you'd have to do by hand. Super painful, really annoying. We take care of it with robots.
It's glowing.
And here we have one button. Now, Glowforge, one button operation. Everything really is controlled by your browser. Doesn't matter whether you're on a Mac or a PC, maybe you want to use your tablet instead. You do all the controlling here, and then there's just one button to touch on the printer.
This is a really cool one to watch print because it's all cuts. And it's just real quick. Is it like 2.5 minutes?
2.5 minutes, yeah. And you can see this is not sped up, this is real time.
Try to get
you might need to go around the front, I think, yeah.
Do I? Okay, here, can you take it from me
yeah,
and I'll try to walk around?
There we go.
Oh, maybe you've got it.
Oh, you're all good. Excuse the reflection of the light in the window, but you can see how fast that's moving. And you know, you could, at a push, cut this out with a knife, but it's very intricate. It would take you a really long time. Definitely longer than 2.5 minutes that we're seeing right here. And this is, you know, like I said, a piece of proof grade leather. This is what we call our thin leather. So it's about, about 1 millimeter thick.
Sure.
So
it's flexible, like would move around.
Absolutely. And it is in its natural state in that it has not had, wow, I'm chasing this light around. There we go, that's better. In its natural state, it has not been dyed. But Bailey mentioned we have a question about dye, so let's talk about that right now while that finishes off.
So that was from Tasha.
All right, Tasha. So good news is there's tons of different options out there, and it's very, very easy to use. It is a bit messy, so I'd recommend making some gloves.
I'm very proud of myself. I am the messiest crafter and maker. I'm always covered in super glue. It doesn't ever occur to me to put on gloves. But Nick brought over some gloves to me, and I did put them on. And I don't have dye all over my hands right now, even after I made this little guy earlier today.
I mean, if we think about it, you know, not wanting to be gross, but leather is an animal product. It is essentially skin. These are made of skin too. You know, it stands to reason that it's going to dye your fingers. But anyway, as for brands, there's a bunch of different ones available. I personally used to use this Phoebings or Fibings stuff. Very popular. You'll see it everywhere if you search for leather dyes. That works great. Angelus is another company as well, which works really nicely. I think these are both oil-based or solvent-based dyes. They're a bit stinky, but they do work really nicely.
I was wearing a mask, so I didn't notice.
Oh, there we go, perfect.
That's one way to do it, yeah.
They're not oppressively smelly, you'll just notice it. And you can get water-based dyes too. They tend to take a little bit longer to dry.
This dried so quickly. I was really shocked. I would say 10 minutes or less.
It's very, very impressive. It really is. It's very easy to do. And I mean, my top tip really, when you're applying dye, so many different ways you can do it. Paintbrush, a dauber, which is like a wool ball on the end of a stick. But I tend to just buy a pack of these cheap washing up sponges, and I cut myself off a little piece and then use that to apply it. And the top tip here is don't use an entire sponge like this when you're applying it, because all it's going to do is suck up all the dye into the sponge, so you're going to have less dye to put on your project. Just use as much as you need. If it's a bag that you're dyeing, you know, something large like this, use a big applicator. If it's something small, cut the sponge and make a small one. But very, very simple. But you also, as we mentioned before, don't have to use dye.
Right.
If you prefer to use paints, maybe you already have paints at home, just standard acrylic paint
Yeah.
works wonderfully. And there's a customer, and I wish I could remember his name now, but he makes custom sneakers.
Oh.
He takes, like a fancy pair of Nikes, he adds embellishment to them, or
Cool.
he cuts old Nikes up and makes them into wallets using his Glowforge. And he does a lot of work with acrylic paints to add different embellishments.
Another customer, also can't remember the Instagram tag off the top of my head, but they make, I don't even know what they're called. They're like little leather accessories that go over your roller skates.
Oh, like the toe guard kind of things?
Exactly,
Yeah,
but they've got all these incredible ones.
Yeah,
oh
I know exactly
my gosh,
who you mean.
yeah.
If you're into roller derby, this could be right up your alley.
All right, let's take this out. It's cut all the way through, just as expected.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really amazing. Me and Bailey have been here for 6 years.
Layers.
It still doesn't get any less impressive to see this happen. I mean, you were using light to cut through a physical material. I mean, I know it's physics and we can explain it with science and everything, but it's still amazing.
Magic.
Right? Like flying is cool, lasers are super awesome. I find the two comparable. But yeah, so this is our finished prints in a proof grade leather. Now this leather actually has a protective surface applied to it. It's almost like a masking tape, and you can see around the edges here, we've got kind of some schmutz and char, if you like, some smoke from where the...
Can you try to peel it? I definitely can't do it.
No, that's all right.
With my nails right now.
Let's see. It's tricky on these leather pieces because they're so small.
Yeah, and it almost sort of seals it to the corner.
Yeah. I peel this off.
I used a little box cutter before. Oh, there you go. Now you can perfectly see.
Yeah, so if I take away like half of this, for example, you can see how much more clean the edges are here where the tape was versus the edges on the beak, for example.
So if you are sourcing your own leather, I would totally recommend using some sort of masking on it, either masking tape or like painter's tape sort of thing, or something like that. Something that just, doesn't leave any stickiness on your leather, though. That's the thing. I know we tried to make this like a really low tack adhesive.
Absolutely,
so that
it peels off nice and easy.
And then you can just right away dye it or whatnot, and it's all nice.
Yeah, super, super cool. So that's it in a nutshell. That's printing something from the catalog. And of course, you don't need to use our designs necessarily. There's a ton in there. I'm sure you'll find some in there that are very valuable. There's a bunch of them that come with your Glowforge that are free. So if you're interested in just trying out a few things, you can do that. But this will print anything from PDFs to SVGs if you're looking to do cut, scores, and engraves. Or if you're just looking to engrave things, you can use bitmaps and PNGs and JPEGs, icons from the web, fonts, and things that you've generated from word processing software. Anything from CAD to vector graphics like Illustrator and Inkscape, all the way down to Microsoft PowerPoint.
Right. Which is my level. I haven't had the patience to learn a design program. I don't think it's going to happen now.
I mean, don't think of it as limiting you, though. We've seen what you've created. You mentioned before your entire wedding was basically designed and printed on a Glowforge using something similar to PowerPoint.
Just simple design programs.
Absolutely.
I haven't found the patience to learn a new program, and I just haven't needed to. Maybe if I had to, I would have. But
yeah. I mean, if there's a forcing function, I'm sure, absolutely. But if someone out there is thinking, well, I'm not a designer, I'm not really sure if I can get into this or translate my idea to the Glowforge, you absolutely can.
Yeah.
There might be a bit of a learning curve, but I promise you, you already have skills that you can put to good use to print on this.
And the same thing goes for materials, in that there's a plethora of different materials. So we just used a piece of proof grade leather, which means that it's a brand of material that Glowforge sells. We selected it. We have proof grade leathers, hardwoods, acrylics, what's it called? Draft board, which is a prototyping material. And your Glowforge comes with a pack of this material for you to try out. This much is worth about $150. And it just has, a selection of them, so you can kind of try them out and see how they work. And see if this is how you want to source your material from us, or if you've already got a beloved local hardware store. And in that case, you can totally use your own materials. You can use a rock that you picked up off the ground, or a pumpkin pie from the store, or what have you. For those things that aren't proof grade, i.e., you have to figure out your own settings, i.e. a pumpkin pie, yes. I would check out the Glowforge community forum. It's community.glowforge.com. Literally type in pumpkin pie. Someone in there has tried it and says, I tried this speed and this power, and here was the result. And it just says we have more and more thousands of Glowforge owners. I just saw a new number lately and it blew my mind.
Yeah. It's big. There's a lot of you out there. That's true.
There's just more and more materials being tested, and gosh, it's a really cool community and cool way to start. And your material might be totally different than someone else's. So if you put in a glass plate that you got on Amazon and you want to do, you know, a family emblem on it, because then you're going to fill it with cookies, and as you take off the cookies, a beautiful personal engrave underneath, right? Find some glass settings on the forum. You do it once, it looks like a little too light. You could do it again and get like a more dramatic effect. You could adjust your settings up or down to get different effects. Like I just did a glass bottle where I did Monstera leaves all over, and I actually did 2 different settings of the glass settings to do like a fainter engrave and then a more dramatic engrave.
Fancy.
So you can get very fancy, just like me.
That's great. You have to bring that bottle in. I'd love to see that.
I've got it at home.
That's great. So I mean, basically what Bailey's saying is you have so much granular control over this if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't need to be a laser expert or an engineer to be successful with this. We take care of all of that within the experience. But let's say you do want to dive in a little bit deeper, explore some materials, do something a little out of the box. You have that control if you want to take it. Jerry Edelman is asking, can I use the Glowforge on hand-built pottery? Jerry, if you are still watching, I'd love to know, do you mean like pre or post firing? Or do you mean like engraving on the clay itself? Do you mean after there's a glaze on it? I do know there is a cool effect with ceramics where you can engrave away a glaze. I don't know if we had a little dish here as an example. I don't see it anymore. But I have definitely seen hand-made pottery pieces and Glowforge in conjunction, especially things like tile work. Like imagine a custom kitchen backsplash where, you know, every other tile has been engraved. You could do photos. You could do your family pets. You could do oh my gosh, you could do family recipes, as we were talking about before. So let me know a little bit more what you were thinking there. But again, if you wanted to jump on the community.glowforge.com community forum and type in pottery, I bet you some folks have been trying some things there. I remember maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, there was definitely a tile trend on the forum.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember this technique where people would take a porcelain tile or something that was glazed and shiny, engrave that away, and then use a felt pen or a marker. And basically the ceramic underneath that's absorbent absorb the ink into the ceramic, changing the color. You wipe off the excess on the glaze and you're left with the color design within the tile.
So clever.
Which you could probably use. But I mean, just thinking about another idea too, if you're thinking pre-firing, you could use acrylic to create a stamp, like a physical 3D stamp that you could then push into your pottery to either create a signature on the base. I mean, they're so quick to make. You could make a unique one for every single piece for the customer's name. You could do designs on the side. And actually, you can use that same technique with leather too. Since we're doing a deep dive on leather, I could show you this, which some of you may have seen before, but this is my wallet that I've been carrying around for a long time. Sorry if it's weirdly warm out of my pocket, Bailey. But that design you see on there was not engraved. That was a stamp that I made out of a piece of acrylic. And then I pushed it into the leather.
Yeah,
and you can see
so not an engrave, more like a deboss.
Yeah, absolutely.
A stamp. Did you wet the leather?
In all honesty, I don't remember,
to
be honest.
That looks gorgeous.
You typically would need to, but you know, you experiment a little bit.
PG Hat Co., who I mentioned before, they are one of our most successful Glowforge powered business owners that we're working with or in touch with and things like that. There might be lots of you out there, but they're set to do $500,000 in Glowforge powered business sales this year. Amazing. They're chiming in to say that one of the questions they get the most about leather is what their settings are, and that I think they're not using proof grade leather. They source their own, and they say that all leather is different with different thicknesses, and it's just never the same, and that they always refer people back to the stock Glowforge settings. So what they mean is that they go to the store and they get a piece of leather and
like this, for
new
example.
batch, just a piece of leather. They put it in, and then they, in the Glowforge app, select leather as the settings, and then it gives them a starting point. Then cut out a little square with a little heart engraved in it and say, oh, it didn't cut out all the way. Oh, it cut too much and it's charred too much on the edge. Then you adjust the settings up and down, and you'll learn to do this. It's quite simple. And then you create a custom setting, and you can save it too. You can save it, exactly. So you can say leather from whatever leather shop, and hopefully they'll remain consistent, and that setting will work for you every time. But that's how it's done.
Yeah.
Rob Fuller, oh hello Rob, asked the question, what would you recommend for marking metals for engraving, like Steremark? Is there an alternative method that won't mean I have to get a mortgage to buy a can? They're saying Steremark's very expensive. So Rob is talking about a product called Steremark, which is like a spray that you spray on top of metals, and then you engrave away the spray. So it creates an engrave effect on metal. Yeah,
absolutely. I've done a bit of research on this. I have to be honest, I haven't found a particularly good solution.
Yeah.
I know it's called something like Dry Moly or Moly Lube. I think it's a disc brake cleaner. People have experimented with that, and that seems to work in a similar way.
Is it brake cleaner?
Yeah, for cars.
Oh my goodness.
It's only about $10 a can, so it's much cheaper than Sumac, which is about $80 a can.
It's not an official Glowforge recommendation.
No.
We're just
this
saying
is
we
what
read
other
somewhere
people
on the
have
forum.
tried. Yes. Likewise, people have used things like mustard and vinegar, other like household acids. I personally find that the metal underneath and the specific metal you're engraving on, like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sumac, it is expensive, but they've done the research and they've designed a product that
works every time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stick to anodized aluminums. They look great.
You can paint the surface of your metal too, and then engrave the paint away. That works really nicely as well.
Oh, that's a
like
good
that.
technique.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did.
Well, Bailey's silent now.
Sorry, everyone.
No, that's all right. Well, while Bailey's plugging herself back in, we could jump to one of our top questions that we get, which is about the main difference between the 3 models of Glowforge that you see. Because, of course, we've got the Glowforge Plus, the Glowforge Basic, and the Glowforge Pro. Now, if we start with the Basic, it's a very capable machine. It looks just like this one. It's the same physical size and shape. It is a great entry to the world of lasers. If we jump up to the Plus, you get, again, the same machine, looks the same size, but it's twice as fast as the Basic. It has upgraded optics and parts of the motion control system inside. It has a longer warranty on there as well. And it is just generally a little bit more capable than the Basic. And then we jump up to the Pro, which is our most popular model. It's the one that we're using right here. It is 3 times faster than the Basic, twice as fast as the Plus. It has all the same upgraded optics, but it also has a cooling system in there too. So if you're printing non-stop for a business or a really dedicated hobby, occasionally if Glowforge gets warm, it's going to pause automatically and cool down. But with the Pro, it keeps on printing and printing and printing. And then it also has the big feature, literally the thing for creating big features maybe, is the pass-through slot. And that is the slot in the front of the machine right here, where you can take a piece of material. Let's take this piece of leather and let's pretend we're making a part for a bag or something like that.
Double the length, right?
Absolutely. We can slide that into the front there. We can send our design to the Glowforge, and what's going to happen is it will print as much as it can fit on the surface in one go. You, as a human, then move that leather just an arbitrary amount, and the cameras inside here figure out where it left off and then carry on with the print. And that way, it just automatically breaks it into segments, so you can create really huge things like the giraffe height chart right there. This was a fake, I say fake, I mean it's a real thing, for a fake business that we were using for a photo shoot. This is half of an A-frame sign. This is maple plywood with some acrylic details that we glued on there. And this was all made using the pass-through feature.
Yeah, so if you're going to make furniture, wall decor, big signs, the welcome to such and such wedding sign that everybody's got to have, or like the baby name sign that takes up the whole wall, all that sort of stuff. I've seen these giant signs on Etsy. Really, that ability to make the giant stuff can be really worth it because of if you are running a business with your Glowforge, the difference in what you can charge for like a 20-inch sign versus a 48-inch sign is substantial, because that's a statement piece.
Oh,
100%. Exactly.
And it's not really any more difficult to make either.
No,
exactly. I will say, unfortunately, it's not possible to add the pass-through slot later on. So if you ever think that you might be making something like that, consider the Pro. I mean, even if you don't have kids of your own, I guarantee that your friends who do have kids will be asking you for that giant baby sign. Absolutely. So, think about that when you're figuring out which machine that you might like.
Absolutely. I meant to mention this so much earlier in our show today, but we do have a discount code if you're thinking about getting a Glowforge this fall. Actually, the one that for today is just good for a few days through next Monday, October 11th. I think today's the 5th, so just about a week. And so that's glowforge.com/leatherraven. So two R's in a row, Leather Raven. And that's good for $500 off the Pro, $250 off the Plus, or $125 off the Glowforge Basic. So you just go to that URL, the discount will pop up, and it'll be populated automatically. And if you're thinking about getting one now, it's a great time because we've still got really fast shipping. The holiday rush hasn't quite hit. Fingers crossed it doesn't. We want everyone to get their Glowforge, this holiday season. But in years past, we have sold out. Oh, and I wanted to mention, we won't be running a Black Friday or a holiday sale this year. We actually have a thing in place called we've worked very hard on this.
It's got a good name.
It's going to be really great.
It's the worry-free price guarantee.
And that means you don't need to worry about your Glowforge going on sale, you know, in a month and you regretting buying it now because you didn't wait for a Black Friday or Cyber Monday or Crafter Tuesday or whatever the heck it is. We're not going to do that to you. The live stream discount that I just gave you right now, that is the best price, the biggest discount you're going to find this year.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. I just wanted to take a moment to show off a few customer prints too, since we're doing a deep dive in leather.
Yes.
I found these earlier. Now we have a fun thing here at Glowforge where is it every week or every month? I forget. We buy some customer prints. We actually raffle them off to the employees. And this is a couple that I found on our raffle table. This is by Beansy NYC. And I believe this entire bag was cut on the Glowforge using panels of leather and then stitched together by a combination of machine and hand. And by that, what I mean is these holes down the side here were all cut with the laser, and then this particular person used a thread, not too dissimilar to this, which you can buy very cheaply online, so basically lace through those holes and create, you know, a pretty stunning bag. This smells delightful, by the way. It's a very, very nice example.
I just want to draw attention to that branded tag that they've done too. How smart, how
so special,
elevated does that feel? Even if you don't work in leather goods, consider making tags with leather, because this just makes the product feel so premium, so special, so custom. I love that.
I mean, think about leather goods, monogramming and things like that, so popular. You could take that same tag, apply a monogram, attach it to the front right there, and you can charge an extra $50 right there.
Literally part of the product.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good.
Wow.
Here's another example. This is actually a Glowforge design that's in the catalog. This is a leather clutch, but there's no stitching involved in this one. It uses these cool little fingers on the side that kind of lock together like a zipper.
So super easy to open. I'm sorry, I'm using one hand. It's not hard to open. I just only have one hand. So this kind of like stitches together if you look inside. Isn't that amazing?
It's pretty cool. And it just has a design engraved on the front and a couple of details stuck on there. And then here's an example of a valet tray, which again doesn't have stitching and uses these little pegs made from proof grade plywood that clip the leather layers together. I don't know if this one is in the catalog or not, but it should be, I suppose.
Neat.
But it's pretty cool, and it's another way to use that material where you don't need to learn a skill like stitching. Just print a couple of things, snap it together, and you're good to go.
And then what's this last one?
Oh, this one is, I've not actually opened it yet, but this appears to be maybe a lady's clutch wallet. If I slide this off, look, let's see what's inside.
Unboxing, kind of.
Red by, oh, look, this is very nice.
Look
at that
how
detail.
Gorgeous.
That's super cool. And if we open this up, looks like it has a snap. Oh, that gold looks very nice against that red. And then inside here, we've got some contrasting black.
Little
some
wallet.
Card slots. Absolutely.
Wow.
So,
and this is
so
handmade
cool.
in Seattle.
Handmade in Seattle, yeah. So nice work, Red by Joe, if you happen to be watching or listening. So cool.
Love that. Well,
all right.
I think
with that,
I think we're just about done. Let me jump on. Oh, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob, he's asking me for any teasers about the UK launch. Rob is one of our most, prolific UK makers. He actually runs the UK Glowforge group, Facebook group. So if you're in the UK, you might have heard or you might have started to see some ads. We are coming to the UK this autumn. And that means, we can offer a better experience for customers in the UK. To be clear, there are lots of folks in the UK who already have a Glowforge, but they've had to deal with things like international VAT fees and shipping and lots of paperwork. And so we're trying to make that less painful for y'all and give you a great Glowforge experience in the UK. So that is coming soon. I can't tease any more details than that, Rob. I'm sorry, but I appreciate the nagging. I love that y'all are so excited. I'm really excited too. Yes. So I know that this time slot, actually, it's 11 a.m. here in Seattle. I think it's like 7 p.m. in London. And so we often, when I ask where y'all are from, we get lots of people over in that area. Do let me know if y'all would be interested in a UK specific live stream in a couple weeks. I think that could be fun.
Yeah.
So
I do that.
Yeah.
I know the UK.
Been there a few times.
I've been there one time, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Happy Tuesday. We'll see you next time.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.